mercy, look at how the time goes.
Okay, now say that again.
I'm going to suck on this while we talk.
You know, up until now, my podcast has been so clean and ethical. Well, welcome everybody to this filthy episode of the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. I am your quite humble host, John Allen, and that is my potty-mouthed wife, Snoopy, who said what she said. We are sitting out on the porch. This is about as normal as it can get, background noise included.
With the babies crying. Gosh, I'm so glad I'm done with that. Aren't you?
You know what? I miss it. I miss those two when they were little.
Kidding me.
No.
You gotta be kidding me. You miss that?
That year that I had with our daughter was one of the best years of my life.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah, but that you only had one to take care of.
So, and?
I had two when I was home.
Well, then why
and
do you
I had to take care of you as well.
Why can't it just be that I'm the better parent?
I don't think so. Because I had 4 babies. 2 little ones and 1 big one that counts like 2.
Oh boy, you just loving yourself, aren't you? You know, I bring in guests because I think they can add something to my podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm slap happy.
I'll slap some happy into you. All right. You come in with potty mouth comments and
What?
I wish you weren't so camera shy. I want to take a picture of you to post for the promo for this.
I don't do that.
Everybody, she's got strawberry blonde hair, long ponytail halfway down her back, a red New York Yankees baseball cap on, headphones, a pink, of course it's pink, a pink lollipop, and and fluorescent orange ankle socks propped up on the gate on our porch.
And sweaty as can be after walking 1 hour up the hills and up in the woods and training for 45 minutes or whatever.
You had that booty sweat action going on. Did you know that?
The what?
Booty sweat.
What's that?
You know what a booty is, right?
Yes.
And you know what sweat is, right?
Yes.
You had booty sweat when you came in.
How do you know?
Come on now. You know where my eyes gravitate to.
Yeah.
Male pig that I am.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But it's beautiful out today.
It is. It's a great summer day. It's 78.8 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really not that hot, but it's hot for us.
It's hot.
Yeah. It's hot.
Beautiful.
It's like uncomfortable hot if you're actually out in the sun baking, but sitting down and relaxing and chilling in the shade, it's perfect. Yep. There's a nice breeze. You can probably hear it whistling through the porch area here. It's a good summer day.
Yeah, it was.
We're not going to have too many more of these,
I know. Up in the woods there, that lake, it was tons of people up there. So people are enjoying the last few summer days before school starts. And I wish our daughter could have done that too, but...
Done what?
Enjoyed the lake, or the fjord today, where she was supposed to go. And
I took the wrong bus. Knuckleheads.
Oh my gosh, poor thing.
Well, was she upset or did she laugh it off?
She kind of laughed it off, and then she said, what are they?
They ended up like way on the other side of the district, not even close to where they were supposed to be. It's not like she missed a stop. She took the wrong bus. And taking the wrong bus in Norway is not like, like if you're in New York City and you go, a couple of blocks away, you're like on the other side of the doggone district.
She was going north towards Oslo. She was supposed to go south. Well, oh well. She learned something, I guess.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about, I don't know, I guess I'm just glad we don't have to worry about the things that kids can be exposed to back in the States.
Like what?
You take the bus in some cities to the wrong neighborhood and you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where that occurs around here.
No, not really. I mean, there's areas where there's fighting and stuff like that. It's
You wish the kids knew, you wish they would have taken their kickboxing a little more serious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And why is that?
So I could kick somebody's...
Yeah, but what if they got that chump gene that you got, where they're just
Oh, come on. I don't have a chump gene. You, Miss Reese, did not see me.
Oh, there you go. Just put my last name out there for these maniacs to figure out where I am and who I am. Look at you. Yeah, go on. Anyway. Go
Anyway,
ahead.
I'll kick their butt if they come here. Don't worry, I'll take care of you.
You got that chump gene where...
Chump gene.
You, I don't know, it's a combination
come on.
of being a chump but not
Hey,
realizing
listen.
that you are a chump.
I had to fight my way up. Physically fight my way up. Growing up with only boys, fighting through up until I started school, fighting through school, and keep on fighting. Yeah.
Is that why you're so aggressive now?
You think I'm aggressive now?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
You've calmed down a lot.
Oh my gosh, a lot. People don't even recognize me.
I made fun of you the other day on yesterday's podcast.
Well,
I told him I had to go because you were getting ready to leave and I needed to hug you before you walked out the door. Because if I didn't calm you down before you went out in public, you would hurt people.
oh my gosh. No, that's not. We make it sound worse than what it really is. I'm not. I'm really calm.
I tease,
Yeah.
but you have calmed down since we,
Oh yeah.
compared to when we first met. You were very aggressive.
No.
Sure you were. Absolutely.
No.
Come on now.
But that's because you didn't know me when I was 16.
Thank goodness. I don't think I'd have liked you.
I don't think so either. Oh well.
You didn't know any black guys back then, though, so who knows how you would have reacted to me.
Remember, I always told you about that guy.
Yeah, and then you show me a picture of him, and he wasn't even black.
But yes, you.
What kind of a memory is that? Okay, everybody, she told me for years about this black guy that she went to school with back in, I don't know, junior high school. And finally she found, you found a picture of him. I don't know where you found
On
that.
Facebook. I did
That's
a
right,
search.
yeah. Did a search.
We searched on his father.
Found him on
and all that.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And I thought, has she been joking with me for the last 20 years? Because this guy ain't black.
But see, I don't understand that. Because his skin, when we grew up, was brown.
Yeah,
And
but
he had
brown
curly
compared to
hair.
what? And curly compared to what?
He had curly hair. He was brown. And he was so handsome.
So you don't think he could have been Gabe Kaplan from the show Welcome Back, Kotter?
The what? Never
That's
heard about that.
That's an American reference. Gabe Kaplan, I do believe he was a Jewish guy, but he had dark curly hair and he was kind of brown skinned. So you would automatically say he's black?
I guess not.
Exactly. But then
again, yeah.
it is interesting that you really you thought he was a black guy
No, he was mixed, you know.
with what, another white person?
No, I knew his father was white because I knew his father.
His mother could have been from somewhere around the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
possibly
Okay.
from the picture.
Okay. Well, maybe
Why don't you
in
contact him?
Africa. No, he doesn't know me. He didn't even look at me. He had all these pretty girls hanging around him.
That's funny. I had so much I could say, but you've already put the filth into this podcast. I'm trying to tone it down.
But you know, I remember the first time I saw a black man.
Yeah?
Yep. I remember it as it was yesterday. I don't think I had started school. It was in the 70s, early 70s. And my dad and I was in town. You know, we had to dress up to go to town. We couldn't just wear our normal clothes anyway. So walking down Bragnes, on Bragnes side, and
That's another part of town for those of you who.
right. Oh,
You're speaking to an international audience.
oh, yeah, that's
there,
right.
young lady.
Yeah, forgot about that. Anyway, where the shops are,
Keep underestimating me.
and I remember I was holding my dad's hand. I just had to suck on this ice cream. Hold on.
See, there's kids listening to this, okay?
But he's running. Anyway,
That doesn't make it sound better, okay?
listen. I'm telling a story, okay?
Preach, girl. Go
Yeah.
on.
So holding my dad's hand, walking down the streets, and I stopped. And I told my dad, look. And I pointed. He is brown.
And this was
And
what, 1970? How old were you, do you think?
I was probably around 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Middle 70s.
Yeah. And I saw a black guy, and I just, I only seen pictures, drawings, basically, of black people back then. And I was
And
fascinated.
you guys had like the real caricatures. Of
Yep,
black, with the bone in the hair through the nose and the big red lips
Yeah.
covering half the face.
Yeah. And they always called, what was a bambu or something, sambo. Yeah. That was always the name of the black person in these songs and whatnot. So
See,
anyway, my dad pulled me. Oh, come on. And I was like fascinated, but I, of course,
Was he embarrassed because you were staring or something?
probably, yeah,
But see, that's interesting because that is your. You have a totally different perspective on race and skin color than it goes back to that old classmate of mine. This woman who said some years ago when we reconnected on Facebook, and she said, "Yeah, I always knew you would marry a white woman," and I told her I didn't marry a white woman. I married a Norwegian woman.
Huh.
Oh no, I always knew you'd marry a white girl. She said, a white girl. I said, no, you're a white girl. My wife is a Norwegian woman. There's a big difference, and it has to do with perspective. It has to do with background.
How?
Well, I don't think that you guys have. When you think of a black guy, you're not necessarily. Well, now you're thinking of an American because of who you're married to. But before you met me, you probably didn't think of an American, a black American. You were just thinking of black guys, most likely with an African reference, because that's what you were used to. That was that unknown exotic that you guys grew up with.
Well, to begin with, that's true. But once we got more TV channels, in the middle 80s, late 80s, we got to watch more TV from Hollywood, the States. And there was Denzel,
Yeah, but even so, I think it's rather meaningful when your first impression or your first image or your first sighting, if you will, was not of a black American, but of a black, most likely African, because it's a totally different reference point. It's a totally different background.
Yeah, but I didn't know that back then. It's not like I talked with him.
But it's not about not knowing about that, but, when you would see them, when you would talk with them, if you dared to.
I never did.
You never dared to?
No, I never talked with them. I never talked with black people. Where would I meet them, really? There wasn't any. It was that one guy at school.
Who wasn't even black.
As it turns out, I wasn't even black. So, anyway, when I got older and I moved to the city, I met a black girl, actually at the gym. Very nice.
And where was this?
At the gym. Here in town, in the city.
Why am I getting all this feedback from your mic?
I don't know.
You don't hear like a buzzing when I talk or a hissing?
No. Oh yeah, a little.
Okay, we'll just let it be
whatever.
what it is. We're outdoors. It's windy.
Um,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. So you
did I
saw a
say?
black girl where?
Yeah, at the gym. Yeah, I met her at the gym.
In New York.
In New York, here in Norway.
Oh yeah, Norway. Why did I say New York?
I don't know. I said the city, and I guess you
Oh,
told.
you said the city. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, she was from. Don't remember, but I think it was Kenya.
Mississippi. Oh yeah. Okay.
Kenya. I think she was a refugee anyway. She had been. They had been. She told me the story. They had been running. She had come home from school. Her father had met her and her brother and picked them up before they reached the house and ran. And the mother was left behind. It could have been Somalia. And then they ran over to Kenya. That's probably what it was. And then eventually they ended up in Norway. For some reason, I don't know why, she did not live with her father. She lived with her brother, and she took care of him. She was, 17? She had, she would get up super early, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and do her newspaper round. And I think she had 2 newspaper rounds, and then she would go to school, and then in the afternoons and the weekends she would sew, because she was very good at sewing, and sell that to make money so that she and her brother could have some food on the table.
Hard working.
Yeah, very nice. So that was.
So that was your first time meeting a black woman.
Yeah, kind of like, to really get to know somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was driving a car. It was 94, 93, 94. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how that is. Anyway.
There's still not a lot of. Yeah, I don't know. I listen to Norwegians who rant and rave about losing their culture, here. Losing their culture because there's so many immigrants. I just don't see it. I don't see that there's. Okay, in our city, yeah, there's a large number of immigrants, and of course in Oslo, but in the country as a whole, I just don't see it. And it's not like this place is crawling with black people.
No, but it's how do I say? It's not like it's more immigrants. Then we're talking about people from India, Turkey, Pakistan, Africa. It's not just the regular African we're talking about when we say those things.
I know, but what I'm saying is in general, when I when I hear people talk about how in general there's too much immigration here and they fear that the Norwegian culture is being wiped out, I don't see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Everybody I see is, I just don't see any wearing down of the Norwegian culture. People are still eating that horrible mackerel and tomatoes. They're still having tacos every Friday. They're still...
Well, if you want to go there, tacos is not a Norwegian...
That is certainly
food.
Do you know, I read the other day, where the most tacos are eaten outside of Latin America? Norway.
Yeah, well...
A tiny little nation of 5 million people. So
Yeah.
that is definitely a Norwegian tradition.
Well, it has become
And
but it's
there goes another little aspect of my point. People choose what parts of culture changes they want to resist and which ones they want to embrace. If you ask somebody, is Taco Friday a Norwegian part of the Norwegian culture? They'll answer, well, of course it is. Heck yeah. Same thing with pizza. Those, of course, yeah. And
depends on who you ask and what age
you get my point. You get my point. They will embrace that.
Yeah.
Or they at least will be indifferent.
Yeah. But see, that is not...
where is this influx of culture that is wiping out the Norwegian culture? What is it? And I don't want to say because there's more brown faces. What are those brown faces doing that is wiping away the Norwegian culture? Because I don't see it.
Well, I don't know what they mean about wiping out the Norwegian culture. I don't think that happens. What I do notice...
Norway seems very Norwegian to me.
Yeah, but listen, what I do see is a change in our language, for instance. The language that the teenager now speaks, you can hear the influence of immigrants in their language. And especially if you live in an area where there are mostly immigrants, because there are places like that right here in town, we know all about that, and it influences the way
but is that
talk.
A bad thing? Language develops.
It does develop, but I don't think I like it though.
From the 30s and 40s, and then listen to how people speak today in the United States.
Absolutely,
it's different.
It's a different. Yes,
it's a development.
Yes,
and the same thing is happening in Norway. And why should that be such a bad thing? It's still Norwegian.
Yeah, because
it's
Norwegian wrong
with different
grammar.
Nuances.
Yeah, but it's wrong grammar, and
it's wrong grammar.
Yeah, well, I'm not living in the States, am I? Am I? So
what? Did you start to say F something? Oh my!
No.
What's that? I'm gonna have to. When I post my podcast, I have to click if it's appropriate for children or not. I hope you know that.
I didn't say anything, man.
Oh, you insinuated.
That's your filthy head.
Barely under the surface.
Your filthy head. And imagination.
It's your fault for wearing them shorts.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
See, what were you talking about now?
Language and immigrants and all that.
And of course the language has changed. I hear it in kids. I've been here less than 20 years, and I can hear that they speak different. The kids do. And, a lot of that is, of course, because of some of the immigrant environments, but it's also because of radio and TV.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know. It seems like some people put a lot of effort into resisting that, but it's just the way society moves along. It's the way society develops.
You know what? I think here's a big thing. We talk about this every now and then at work, quite often, and you and I talked about it several times. What I do think kind of messes up the what do you say when people get integrated or whatever?
Integration?
And I think what messes that up mostly here in Norway is our system. When there's a refugee or somebody moving to Norway from like a totally different area of the world.
Middle East, for example.
Yeah, Middle East, or I guess it's different between immigrant and a refugee. But let's take a refugee. When they come to Norway, they have to go through this class thing. They have to go to learn Norwegian for so
they have
many.
To go through social studies classes, things like that. Yeah.
And that's good, but if they have a chance to get a job instead, where they actually learn Norwegian at the when they're working, I think that might be the better thing to do, because what happens when they are in this class? Well, they have to live, so the government pays them, give them money, of course, to give them a house and money for food and clothes and all that stuff. And then when they're done with this school and they're going to start getting a job, it is hard for them to get a job. But what I see is that, from what I've seen, is that when they come to Norway, the first thing they think of is they need a job. They need to get out in the society and work and get to know people and know the language and so on. And that eagerness, in a way, gets kind of shut down because they have to go to this class. How about doing both things? Is that possible?
I hear you, but I totally and enthusiastically disagree with you.
Really?
I think there is a percent of people who come here as refugees who lose motivation while they're trying to learn the language and learn about the culture. Most of them are head over heels excited about the new opportunity, and they are aware before they even get here of the facts that they have to take classes. They know that already, and they see that as part of their journey to starting a new life. See, I think a lot of people just brush away that sense of excitement and urgency that these refugees have to be starting over. You have to, and I know it's very difficult for a privileged Norwegian to put themselves in the shoes of a refugee, but I ask that you privileged Norwegian, put yourself in the shoes of these refugees who are coming here. What are they leaving? They are leaving death. They're leaving war. They're leaving disease. They're leaving shattered lives. And I think you guys underestimate, or you guys don't get a sense of their genuine appreciation and enthusiasm to start over and fix their lives.
Well, I have worked with refugees, so I've seen some of that. And I must admit, I didn't really... in the women, I didn't see that much enthusiasm. I saw it in some. In the men, I saw it. But the sad thing is that it is so difficult for them to get a job. And
why is that?
That's because they got the wrong last name.
Exactly.
And that is extremely wrong.
So why is there almost no talk? And you'll run into a radio host who will talk about it. You run into newspaper articles that will address it. But the people in the street, when I have this discussion with other people in the street, why are they so reluctant to admit the Norwegian society, not the Norwegian system, but the society's part in making things difficult for people who come to this country? You know, it is the society, it is the man or woman who's sitting behind that desk who sees that application and throws it away.
That's true. That's true.
That has nothing to do with the immigrant or the refugee themselves, and it has nothing to do with the Norwegian system.
That's true.
You know, the things that are demanded of immigrants and refugees. It has nothing to do with that. That is down to, I don't know, xenophobia. It's down to racism, and those are societal issues, not system issues. It becomes systematic or systemic when those individuals come into positions of power within the system. Then you have systematic xenophobia or systemic racism.
But do you think that it could be that those kind of lock in together when people see that if there's people that's been living here in Norway, and I'm not just talking about refugees, I'm talking about a family reunion and people marrying their
When you
cousin.
say family reunion, you're talking about an immigrant who has residency here, who then brings a family member.
That marries his cousin and bring it over here. Yes, and that
Yeah, but that's not family reunion.
Sure, it is.
If you're speaking about family reunion under the laws of immigration and refugees, family reunion is if I immigrate to Zanzibar and I want my family to come over, you and these two maniac children of ours, and you guys come over, that's family reunification. Now, within that, yes, there are some people who get into that, marrying a second cousin or something. Yes, that does happen, but that in itself is not the definition of family reunification when it comes to immigration.
That goes underneath the family reunion, because yes, it does, John. When you came here, that was family reunion. You were my husband's.
And I'm saying that I'm just clarifying, because you said, when I said, when you say family reunion, what do you mean? And you say, yeah, when someone brings their cousin and marries them. Yes, that happens, but that is not the definition of family reunification.
That was an example.
I wanted you to say that.
Okay.
You aggressive little thing.
Oh, I'm sure everybody understood what I meant except you.
Do you guys see how tired? Do you understand why I get tired?
Shh. Oh my gosh. See, now I lost my train of thought.
Let me help you. You were talking about how correct I was when I said... No, we were talking about family reunification.
Yeah. Oh, what was I talking? Oh, yeah. So, anyway, so they come here, very often a woman, and they don't learn Norwegian. They move to the area of the city where there's mostly just immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they don't learn the Norwegian language.
That happens, yeah.
It happens a lot. And then... because they get by, and then the thing is that they get their check from the government in the mail every month, and I guess that's what. And then the kids grows up and they don't hardly know Norwegian by the time they start in school.
But
and all that.
The picture you're painting is not the norm. The picture you're painting is the exception.
Is it really?
Oh, come on. Do you really believe?
No. It's not. No, I if you take the whole, all of them and do the percentage,
of course,
yes.
there are some people that walk the path that you described. But that
we
is not the norm.
lived in that area. We used to live at that area. I went to the parents' meeting at them schools. I was shocked because the few women that was sitting there, they could not understand what the teacher was talking about. The men that was sitting there...
Why does that area exist?
The men that was sitting
Why
there...
Why does that area exist where those kind of people are living?
They understood Norwegian. So and then... So I've seen it, and I and this is what us Norwegians are thinking and seeing and wondering why.
Yeah, but do you know why?
Well,
come on now, say it, girl.
You tell me. Tell me why.
It's like I've been telling you for years. Neighborhoods or areas like that exist where there's a high concentration of foreigners who just aren't quite integrated. They aren't quite making it. Low unemployment. I guess it'd be more proper to say high unemployment rates, especially among the women. Those places exist because the Norwegian society and system, to a certain extent, corrals them into those places. Why does any ghetto exist? Those people aren't choosing. They are not actively saying, I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be successful. I don't want to learn the language. I want to feel like I'm outside of the rest of this city or society. They don't choose that. They don't say that that's what they want.
So who makes them?
Who makes them? Good and well the things that I've seen. The way some people have treated me and the obstacles that I've met.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met those obstacles and I've won. I've come out on top. Only because I have the background that I have. Now you take somebody else who comes here, okay? They don't have a Norwegian wife, okay? They come from a non-Western culture, right? Mm-hmm. They have some kind of mental trauma, PTSD, if you will, that they've gone through. They're the wrong skin color, and they're from the wrong country. And then they get met with that thing where you said yourself, they'll just take that application and put it to the bottom of the pile because they have the last name. Or they'll meet that aggressive cash out person at the grocery store who yells at them because they don't speak perfect Norwegian. And how many and how many times can a person be met with that when you have an untold amount of baggage in the form of PTSD and issues, challenges, lack of resources? How often can you be met with that before it breaks you down and you get bitter and you get tired and you can't and you just can't function at an optimal level, and you are condemned to a generation or two or three or five of struggle?
Well, this thing is tipping over. But no, I don't think that these all these women that lives up in that area, that all of them have PTSD.
I didn't say that.
They don't come from that. They come from countries that does not have a active war.
I didn't say that.
And well, you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't say they all do.
Yeah, well,
I said how many of them. Yes, and
yeah.
That's the truth.
So then, and I bet you anything that a lot of them hasn't even applied for a job because they don't need to. And that area that we're talking about here in town was not built for foreigners. It was built because there was a housing lack of housing in the 60s and early 70s.
Yeah, so they built all those high-rise buildings. Yes.
Right.
So why is it the way it is today?
Because it's cheap there. It's cheaper to buy an apartment up there.
Exactly. And who has the least amount of money in this society?
Well, there's also one of my neighbors out there lived up there.
Cry me a river. Where's your violin? Please. Come on.
No, of course. If you have only one income, you have to live up there. Yeah. My goodness, we lived there for a while too.
In the greater scope of things, who has, and just answer it straightforward, who has the least economic, the smallest economic base in this country? Who are those people?
They are, of course, immigrants.
Yeah, but why do you have to try and twist and say, well, I know a friend. I know my friend, Inge, who, and she's a single mother, and she's been struggling. You know, of course. Of course there's those people out there. But they have resources. They have a support system. They have an understanding in the system, and the people who work within that system have an understanding with them. And all of those other things that these immigrants do not have. Do you remember when I went to, and here's a good example, and you can't distance yourself from this. I think maybe you're just trying to argue with me just to make the podcast episode exciting.
No.
Do you remember when I went to the...
Yeah, I remember that, but that was up north. We're talking down here now. Up north, that was just different. It was. You got to admit that. But how about this? And this is the thing that it seems like for us, what do you call us? Xenophobic Norwegians, right? Mm-hmm. This is what it looks like to us, okay? So, it looks like... Stop laughing. It looks like there's no... a demand to a lot of immigrants. The system here doesn't demand anything, and just to make sure that you understand that I also believe that goes for a lot of Norwegians that they just want hand-me-outs, and they don't really want to do anything about it.
Well, that's
we
one
see
of the downsides of having a
more.
solid social system to back people up. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's
There's
where
people who are going to abuse it, yeah.
And that is where I say the system is failing. How about, for instance, so we lived up there, okay? And we moved.
We didn't, people, by the way.
Well, our kids went to the same school,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So, and we moved from down here where we live now up there because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And
the housing market led us there.
The housing
it was
market,
a good
exactly.
investment because of the low prices.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, see now, what was I going to say? You interrupted me again. Stop that.
Shaky argument, isn't it?
No. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and the thing is, when we lived down here, we had to pay SFO for 2 kids.
SFO is the after school.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Before school and after school care for little kids.
Right.
Up until 3rd grade? No.
When they start 4th grade, there is nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to pay that. That's quite a bit of money each month.
Yeah, that was expensive.
It was. And then, of course, we had to rush home from work and all this stuff and the other. Anyway, I started working nighttime at that point. And then we moved up there. And guess what happens up there? Well, there's free SFO. There's free daycare.
Yeah, but see, now here comes another typical Norwegian thing.
No, listen.
Why would that be a problem?
I'm talking.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Don't cut me. Don't cut me.
And the thing is, stop that. And the thing is that, I wonder if, okay, I get it. It's important that the kids learn Norwegian, so they should be going to a daycare and learn Norwegian. However, they need to go to a daycare where they speak Norwegian. That I don't know anything about that, if that happens up there, but I just listened to, I walked by a daycare today when I was walking, out walking, and I heard the adult there say, you have to speak Norwegian here.
Okay, and?
Which is good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wonder if there was no free daycare, or at least there was no free SFO, would that push some of the women out to work maybe like twice a week? Would that push them more out in the society in a way?
Because if there was no free daycare or SFO, the after school and the before school care for kids, if that wasn't free where the parents could take the kids there, maybe that is exactly what is freeing up some of these women to be able to take a part-time job somewhere.
But they're not working.
Kids, yeah, but you're speaking as if none of them are working, and that's not the case.
Most of them are not.
That's not the case.
It is.
You're looking at one neighborhood.
Yes.
That's
the neighborhood I'm talking about right now. Yes, I'm talking about that neighborhood.
Okay, so because you want to spite the women that choose not to work, you want to take away the SFO or the after school thing so that their kids don't get more exposure
but how about this?
Listen to me, so that their kids don't get more exposure to learning Norwegian.
So why wouldn't we get free SFO when living down here? We would need it because we were working our butts off.
No, we wouldn't be living down here. We would have a different life situation. My point is you're doing what a lot of Norwegians do. I don't care if you get mad at me either, where you see what an immigrant or a refugee is getting. You're like, well, my goodness, they're getting so much, and they're just abusing it. And you don't look at the nuances of the situation. So what if they're getting this, that, and the other? How is that hurting you? It is an attempt to help the society. And in the sense that it puts those kids with more exposure to Norwegian-speaking adults and Norwegian-speaking kids. It's a good thing. Now, the downside of that is, as you say, I say some, you say all, some of these mothers are not working. And that hinders their adjustment and integration. But for those kids to have that SFO, more contact in a Norwegian-speaking environment with teachers, or at least with adults. Some of them aren't teachers, but with adults and Norwegian children. How is that a bad thing? And if you took that away, or if you made it not free, how is that going to encourage or allow more immigrant kids to have more Norwegian contact? Please don't get into politics, Snoopy.
Well, I'm kind
Do you
of
see what
thinking
I'm
about.
saying?
I see what you're saying, and I guess that's a good point.
I think it is a good point. It's you guys have this thing, and I don't think it's, you're not a mean spirit. Well,
don't go there.
No, you're not a mean-spirited person, and I don't think the Norwegian society is inherently mean-spirited. But there is a certain callousness and lack of understanding for the situation of you guys' new countrymen.
Yeah,
you guys are so
I guess,
quick.
yeah.
It's almost like you guys are waiting to pounce and pounce on something that you interpret as abuse of the system.
Yes, because we see our system is funded on trust. No, it is. It is seriously. No,
all of you people who want to hire a carpenter and pay them under the table.
Yeah, be quiet now.
How's that for trust?
Listen. Our system is funded on trust. The government trusts us that we don't go and pretend to be sick and get money. They trust us if we say we're sick, we really are sick, and then we'll get help. They trust us that we don't abuse the system, okay?
Oh.
And the sad thing is, and this has been proven time after time, that there are immigrants, and I'm not talking about just immigrants from Pakistan and Africa. I'm talking about immigrants from former Soviet Union. And Norwegians, of course, are abusing the system. And I think that those cases that we hear about, the cases we hear about when there's immigrants that are abusing the system, is not good for the immigrants in general. And we don't like to see that being abused. Of course, yes, when it comes to paying taxes, a lot of people cheat on the taxes.
Exactly,
and
but
it's
here's
wrong.
The thing.
But however, no, hold on now. I wonder if we would have cheated so much on our taxes if we could see that the system was working a little better. I don't know.
And the immigrant says, "Oh, I wouldn't cheat on getting my monthly social payments if these Norwegians would just give me a shot."
That's true.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but see, you'll say what you said in favor of the Norwegians, but you won't say that for the immigrants. Oh, and when I say you, I mean Norwegians. In other words, something comes up in the news about an immigrant or a refugee who got caught abusing the system, getting money that they shouldn't be getting, and then people act as if all immigrants have to answer for that. Close the borders. Don't let anyone else in. See what happens, And yet you'll hear a case where, or you'll know, who cares about hearing a case? You'll have a neighbor, you'll have a friend or family member who is out there, hiring carpenters to do work around their house, and they're just paying them under the table. But that's okay. And not all Norwegians have to answer for that. And there's the difference.
I think Norwegians really do have to answer for that, because
you think that, but what I'm saying is correct. That in general, for the most part, Norwegians don't feel like they have to answer for what their neighbor is doing to cheat, and yet that same person will act as if all immigrants, like I have something to do with the Pakistani or the Somali or the whoever who did this, that, or the other. They'll look at me sideways.
Yeah.
But they won't look at you sideways because their neighbor cheated on their taxes.
Yeah. You got some good points there.
Oh, my goodness. What? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I think the microphone faded out. What did you say? Was that something about good points?
Maybe you should be a politician.
No, I could never be a politician.
Why not? You are very good at arguments and debates. You are. And you interrupt me, so I kind of lose the way I was going to say. And if you do that, then I'm sure a lot of politicians would forget what they were supposed to say because you.
No, I just think about these things, and I have I think my opinions on these issues are very well thought out. There's a foundation on them. I'm not just throwing out BS.
Well, neither am I. I've been thinking about it too. Yeah. But see, but here's one of the things that might be something for Norwegians to think about is that when we have discussions, like I said, we discuss this at work. Well, who do I discuss this with? Other Norwegians, right? So we don't get that the other arguments and the other sides. You guys spend a lot of time just confirming each other's opinions. Exactly. Yeah. We don't get all the other different meanings and views of a case.
Well,
like you and I are doing now.
Yeah.
Right? And you see that oh gosh, you're right, even though we've been talking about this for so many years, you made me think a little bit different now. I'm still saying that
such is the power of my wisdom.
Yeah, but I still oh gosh, but I still say that the learning the language.
Oh, that's optimal. You've got to do that.
You got to do that because if you don't,
and not just you. In other words, not just the individual, but it has to be a family thing.
Absolutely.
The husband, the wife, and the kids. They've got to know it. Yeah. If you want to make it, if you want your foot in the door, if you want to be able to kick in the door, if they're not going to let you put your foot in the door, you've got to have the language skills. I wouldn't be half of the person I am now, success-wise or experience-wise, in this country if it wasn't for my language skills.
We wouldn't be living here if you couldn't learn Norwegian. Remember I told you that? Remember that?
Yeah, and I cut off all that foolish talk. I learned very quickly.
You learned it like super quick, and that was just amazing. So, and I think that because we Norwegians, we are used to, it's changing now, okay? It has changed, but take people our age, though. Whenever, the few times we met an immigrant, or it seems like they don't really speak Norwegian, so that is... We shouldn't think that nobody speaks Norwegian just because they're brown. That is wrong. That is very wrong. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people do.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Happens to me
but
all
I
the
think
time.
that also the immigrants has the responsibility.
Of course they do.
The sole responsibility of learning that. And I think also they have the sole responsibility of learning the system, the laws, and the culture in Norway, and learn about that. And yes, but they go to these classes and so on. But you went to a class like that. What did they really learn?
2 days.
Yeah,
Nothing.
what did they really
Nothing.
learn? Exactly. And that again brings back to the system. How can they do that? I mean, I was helping immigrants.
But why don't you Norwegians put your frustration and your anger and your accusations where it belongs. Instead of
To
on the immigrant and,
Yes.
on the refugee,
Yeah.
put it on the system and make your politicians make some meaningful and long-lasting changes.
Yep.
You guys' frustration is so misdirected.
And it is, and we are so well trained in Norway. The Norwegians are trained to believe that we should be thankful for what the government is doing for us. We should be thankful for living in such a nice country, such a safe country, such a rich country.
I don't think it's very safe here.
Listen, and we should not complain, and the government is always doing good things for the citizens.
I don't think it's very safe here.
But hold on. So the thing is that we sit and complain around the kitchen table, or we don't walk out in the streets, because that is not... We are too well raised to speak up loud and demonstrate out in the streets for things we don't like.
Yeah.
Some people are doing it, but not very many. Look at France. When
They shut the whole country down.
When the gas prices goes up, I don't think there's any country in the whole world that has higher gas prices than we have. And in France they burned the city down because of that.
Yeah.
So Norwegians are very, well trained basically with that, and it's I think it's kind of a propaganda thing that we have been fed into our head since we were little, and we believe it.
Yeah.
And even though, like with me now, I sit there, I'm saying all this, I've said for years, for the last 30 years, I've said there's a ton of corruption in this country. People laughing at me. It's coming out. The last 10 years it's been coming out, more and more corruption. But the thing is what do we do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, but you guys don't know what corruption is.
No, but, there is corruption here. And we are patting our shoulders that we don't have any corruption. We've been doing that for centuries or decades, and now they, I don't know, last 10, 15 years or something, they realized, oh my gosh, there's a corruption here. So I don't know. I think what do I say? I think we have been this has been fed into our brain. I remember when I was started school, in the buses. There was posters because we need to learn how to eat, right? So it was a picture of a milk carton, and there was a plus sign, and there was a picture of a loaf of bread, and there was the equal sign, and it said sunt, healthy, right? And that is what we were raised with. So everybody was eating bread 3 times a day, and drinking milk 3 times a day, and eating a little bit of dinner. And that was the Norwegian way of eating, because that's what we were told from the government. That's the healthy way.
Yeah.
And that is the way, I think, with a lot of things, the reason why we are not so much out in the streets. Now, I think there is about to be a change when you see the kids growing up now, the teenagers, they're speaking out a little more. And I think there might be a change in that.
You know why I would be a good politician? Because as I found out for the last 15 minutes of hearing you babble on, I'm a real good listener. I think the people would appreciate that.
That you're a good listener?
I'm a good listener.
So you think I just rambled?
Oh, Snoop.
This is going to be a boring podcast, just me rambling, huh? You're not even going to post this, are you?
No, you're not. No, I'm going to post it. Actually, this has been a good, except for your sexual innuendo at the beginning, this has been a really good podcast.
I just had an ice cream.
Well, now you say that, but the listeners didn't know that.
You just
The listeners
you
don't know.
you got a
say
filthy
things like
mind,
that.
John.
Is it the language barrier or something? You can't say things like that. They're going to assume things.
Maybe. Hey, listen.
You think I should be a politician?
Yes, I do think so.
What party? Left or right? Doesn't matter to name the party because nobody outside of Norway knows them. But do you think I should be left
But see,
or
that
right?
doesn't matter in Norway, really, does it?
I don't think so.
Because
That was my point. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't really matter because, and that's another stupid thing here. You know, you have the a party that is halfway right, or let's say a party that's kind of left that wins. Okay, and what do they do in order because they don't have enough voters? So what do? Well, they bring in a party that's kind of right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that only has like 4%.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're all the same.
Yeah. So
I don't think I could be a politician. I think I would lose friends.
You know, I have always dreamed about having this one party. Do you want to hear about it?
Oh boy, let's hear it, Snoopy.
It's called DDP.
And that stands for?
The Democratic Dictatorship Party.
Oh boy.
And I would be in charge.
Of course.
Of course. I would listen to the people and then I will make a decision.
A dead lamb leg hanging in every kitchen by order of the great Snoopy.
And I would I would change the kids needs to go out and work.
From the age of?
7.
What, like in the coal mines or what? What kind of work?
No, they would have to it would be allowed to work. They didn't have to work, but it would be allowed.
Well, see, that's a big distinction that you have to say.
Yeah.
Made to work or allowed to work. That's two different things.
Yeah, well, but I think I would make them work at school instead of hiring people to clean.
Yeah.
I think the kids could clean.
That's what they do in Japan. The kids clean the schools.
Make them appreciate, a clean house and stuff like that. Respect the cleaning people, right?
Yeah.
Little things like that, and of course, I would squeeze in on paying people for doing nothing. If you are not able, you're in a wheelchair. And you can't move your arms or whatever.
Well, see, I think that's a bit harsh. You should just say if they have ailments that keep them from being able to work.
Okay.
Legitimately.
No,
you don't have to be in a wheelchair.
Well, okay, let's say that. Then there's always something you can do. Something. Pick up the phone. Make one phone call to a person who is lonely.
Well, you just put me in as your advisor, your consigliere, so I can be in the background and reel you in when you come with this craziness. Oh, you're not in a wheelchair? It doesn't matter that you got your arms chopped off in a farming accident. You're not in a wheelchair. You can work.
No, not that bad.
That's what you said.
No. My point is that I think that. Yes, of course we can help people and keep the social system that we have. It's a good system, but it has some flaws. It can be done better.
Yeah.
It is. So anyway.
Well.
Go into politics, John.
You think I should?
I think you should.
They get paid well.
You know what? 8
Early
years.
retirement.
8 years, and you got a full retirement.
Well, I don't know if it could last 8 years.
Well, if you get into the Stortinget,
That train
Hair
ride into
limit.
Oslo every day would just drive me nuts.
It's a nice train ride. You can listen to your podcast and
would
then
I be
just
doing a podcast if I was a politician? No. Would I be doing a podcast if I was a politician?
Sure, you would. Why not?
You think so?
Oh yeah,
I'm sure I could.
absolutely. Why not?
I certainly would have access to some big name guests, that's for sure. No offense to my guests so far. I've had some I tell you what, I have had some really interesting people.
Yes, you have.
And
you
no
just
joking.
started.
No joking. I shout out to my guests. Thank you all for coming on. I've met some cool people. who have had some really interesting things to talk about.
It is. It's pretty amazing that those people want to talk with you, John.
It is. It's humble. It's humbling.
You didn't get what I said now, but whatever.
No, I didn't get what you said.
Yeah.
I get it now. I'm a little slow. It's this summer air. This summer air is making my brain humid. No, but we've been at it for an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so
I gotta go to work.
You have to.
I gotta get.
Yeah,
ready
you're not
for
in
work.
a wheelchair. Go work. Okay, that's this episode of Snoopy on the Porch. Bye, everybody.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Yes, I am. Yes, I'm coming home. I'm coming home.